All right, I know I'm staring at a blank camera. If you're looking at me like, what in the world's he doing? I'm trying to post stuff to Facebook as well. Hey, we're going to start up a new segment here. Those of you that are watching online, I'm going to do some more clicking around while I'm talking. All right. I'm pretty good at that. We'll see how it goes. We're going to share a new segment with you. I know a lot of you have been affected by this coronavirus thing that's going around. You are probably quarantined in your house, if not quarantined, just keeping yourself away from other people in order to keep safe. We're trying extra special hard as a pastor. It's hard for me not to be out there among people, but my wife does a lot of work with senior adults, and and so we have to be extra special careful about who we get around and what we're doing. And I know one of the things that we keep hearing people say is, "Oh, I'm going to go stir crazy being in my house all by myself," and obviously those people are not introverts, because introverts are loving the opportunity to be inside for a little bit. But I thought, what in the world could we do as a church? Now we want to do, and we're going to do many serious things. We're going to be working on getting our services online every single week. We always do them recorded, but we're going to be doing them live, so you can watch them Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. But we're in this phase of social distancing, that keeping 6 feet away from everybody that's around you. Now I'm reaching out. The camera is about a yard away from me. So if you stay 3 feet away from your screen, I stay 3 feet away from my screen. In total, we're 6 feet away from each other. We're going to be good to go. But social distancing with CenterPoint is really just going to be a time for me and my family just to share a part of our lives with you throughout the next couple of weeks. Who knows, the next month. And maybe give you an opportunity just for 30 minutes to click on something, to laugh with us, to see stuff. I'm not going to be super serious in these videos, and we're going to do our best to be respectful for the situation that's going on, but understand that we all have a life that we've got to live, and with some of us stuck inside our house, it's a new thing in a new environment, and this maybe gives you a new way to share and see what's going on. So we're going to do a lot of different stuff. I told the kids, hey, if you want to play with the dogs, to exercise them around the living room, let's get the camera set up first. Let's film you playing with the dogs, so some of you can watch us messing around with the dogs. Or if we play a game, we're going to try to play a game this afternoon, and we'll film ourselves playing the game. And you may be like, oh, I'm not interested in this, and be done and gone. That's fine. That's okay. We're just giving you an opportunity to interact with us socially. And anything that you do, if you chat in the chat lines that are there, and you let us know what's going on. I don't really have a producer today. I think Cambry's going to do some of that for us in the weeks to come. So I may not be able to respond right now, but if you guys are responding back and forth to each other, even last Sunday when we were doing our live sermon on Sunday, I saw a couple of you that were chatting back and forth with each other, and I thought that was lots of fun. So I just thought I would just start off and just let you guys know that's kind of what we want to do with this social distancing with CenterPoint, is just have a place where we could get together and we could enjoy some time with each other, but be able to be at a distance so that we're safe, we're being responsible, and we're not being crazy about that stuff, but at the same time where you could have some social interaction. So I just wanted to tell some stories. I went grocery shopping about a week ago, so I'll get out and go and grab some stuff here and there, and really this was. We knew that the coronavirus was going on in Asia and in Italy, but it really hadn't affected us that much. And so I'd gone to the store. I'd bought some stuff. They, Big Y, they had this deal. If you have your little Big Y card, it's buy a bag of chicken, get 2 bags of chicken for free. So I bought me 3 bags of chicken. All right, it wasn't anything I was planning on stocking up on chicken. So we ended up we've got some meat. We're okay. We're not going to starve. I know that you're looking at me and you're thinking that I'm looking kind of a little thin, emaciated, that I need to eat something. I'm going to get something to eat right after this. All right. And so, that's kind of, we got the meat, we got the stuff going. But I've told you in church before that we have a big problem in my house. Whenever you go shopping, there's a rule when we go shopping. And the rule is ABM, always buy milk. All right. That's just, we had teenage boys and everything. And I'm going to let you know, a lot of people I'm going to be leaning down to do stuff. A lot of people are going to be coming and drinking their tea and coffee. I have my glass of milk. I love me some milk. All right. So, that's my big weakness. And I actually know that during this time of everybody buying everything, that, I have to lower my milk consumption. but this was for the show. It's for you and me. I can drink it. It's okay. So yesterday, we finally did a breakdown. I needed to do a run to the store. I mean, we weren't going to starve, but it was time. I needed to stock up on some stuff, get some things ready to go, and so ran to Walmart. And you walk in, and the park. I've seen the park; it's crowded like that. If you go after school or something like that. Now, this was at a time of the day where I didn't expect it to be, or normally it wouldn't be as crowded, but it was crowded. And I walked in, and things looked kind of normal, but you could look over at the produce section, and you saw that, there was some thinning in the produce section. All right, some people eating their vegetables. That's good. Saving some stuff up. My problem is, vegetables don't last around. If you buy enough vegetables to last for a week, well, they get expired. They go rotten and stuff by the end of the week. So we just all eat them all up, and, so we only have a couple of days worth of vegetables or a couple of days worth of fresh fruits and vegetables before you got to go to the canned and frozen stuff. And so I see some vegetables. I could tell, all right, so people have eaten some. So I grabbed me some broccoli. We like doing some stir fry, some zucchini and squash and some other fresh vegetables that were around there. Picked up some oranges, got to get that vitamin C and keep going. And then started going through the aisles. I looked down the bread aisle. I knew we already had a loaf of bread. We were good to go on that. And kind of my deal is, if I don't need it, I probably shouldn't buy it, because somebody else that may need something like that is going to get it. So I'm not going to stock up on bread. I'm going to leave that for somebody else. We'll use the loaf we have, and then I'll go find some later. And then started going down the aisles, and there was a lot of stuff gone. When I went a week ago, I could have whatever I wanted. I wasn't even thinking. I mean, I knew I had heard stories about, places already running out of stuff, but it wasn't running out of stuff where we were, because I'm going down the grocery aisle and there's everything there. And I start walking down the aisles looking at stuff, and there's normal things that I like to pick up. Our family's a huge fan of Mexican food, so I always try to pick up some tortillas, try to pick up some salsas, try to pick up some rotels, things like that, cilantro, get some of those things for the good Mexican food. And one of the things, and I love my Connecticut people. All you Connecticut people, I love you so much. But every time we cook something for our good Connecticut friends up here, people are always like, ooh, that's a little hot. Right? If you don't know, we came up from Oklahoma, but we're originally all kind of from the Texas area. And Connecticut and me, my ideas of hot, they're two different things. I mean, I'll make the mild stuff. Like, every once in a while, one of our kids just wants I'll make some mild stuff. And I made some mild chili for some of our friends. And they were like, ooh, this is hot stuff. And I'm like, no, that's the mild stuff. I left all the cayennes out. I didn't cut up any jalapenos or put them in there. That's the mild stuff. And, well, it's different here. What people in Connecticut consider hot is different than what I consider hot. So I'm going down the aisles, and I like it. It's hard sometimes to even find like hot salsa here. You'll find the mild salsa and the medium salsa, but rarely will the grocery stores stock the hot salsa, because it just doesn't. People don't buy it, and it'll stay on the shelves too long. And so I'm walking down the Walmart aisle where the Mexican food is, and I bump into this. This is the first thing I bump into. Now, if you're a Facebook fan of mine, you've seen a picture of this. All right. I bump into the Rotel aisle. All right. Now, Rotel we use to make all sorts of things from, we use it to make our a lot of our things for our salads, for Mexican salads. We use it for chili. We use it for putting into nachos or quesos. Now, I want you to look at this one. It says hot. Now, if you look on my Facebook page, you actually see the Rotel aisle, and every single can of tomato product is gone. There's nothing. It's gone except for the hot Rotel. And it is stacked from bottom to top, flush all the way to the back. It is completely 100% stocked. In fact, I'm probably pretty certain that there's more of it back in the back, because it was so completely stocked up. And all of a sudden I realized, here's the silver lining to Connecticut. I can go to the store, and while everybody else is like, they're sold out of everything, I'm like, what are you talking about? the grocery store is full of all this hot stuff. So I could buy jalapenos. I got my hot rotel. I bought several cans of my hot rotel. Being a responsible person like I am, helping out local businesses by buying the hot rotels. Went down the aisle just a little bit, bumped into the chip section, and Kim is a big fan of nachos. And all the tortillas and the chips, they're all gone. Except there's this whole section of hint of jalapeno Tostitos. They're Tostito chips, I guess, with a hint of jalapeno. Now, I've tasted them. I don't really taste the jalapeno. I don't taste the hot. But because it says the word jalapeno on it, people in Connecticut are like, I'm not eating those. I could be starving. I could be dying. I could run out of toilet paper, but I am not buying hot jalapeno tortilla chips. And so, man, I grabbed 3 or 4 bags of hot jalapeno tortilla chips and then went a little bit further down. If you want to make some really good, like queso, you got your cheese and stuff in it. If you ground up, like you do ground beef, some sausage, like Jimmy Dean sausage or whatever, you ground it up and put it in with the cheese, makes it super good. Plus it gives you some protein in it ready to go. And so we love to do that. A lot of the sausage up here is like a sage sausage or the Italian sausage, which I don't mind at certain times. It's just a sweeter sausage, and I'm not used to sweeter sausage. Go there, and the meat sections, the section where the sausage and bacon is completely decimated, except this one completely filled row of Jimmy Dean hot sausage. I'm like, well, that's the kind we like anyways. And so was able to grab. I learned something. Anything that I want, as long as I want it in a spicy flavor, I can have it. There is not a food problem. So I'm going to encourage some of y'all, if you want to come visit us, know that the food you're going to have for the next week is going to be hot. We had a friend, one of the teachers Kim used to teach with back in Oklahoma. She had commented on the thing. She's like, oh, I hope you got the toilet paper. Here's the deal. None of the toilet paper is hot and spicy. I looked, all right? If there was hot and spicy toilet paper, I'd have more toilet paper than you know what to deal with. But none of the toilet paper was hot and spicy. So I don't know what, I'm sure Kim, when she's watching this, is like, stop talking about toilet paper. But if you have hot and spicy toilet paper, you probably got other issues going on right now. So I'm going to take a hot break by drinking a little more of my milk. All right, so I just wanted to share some of the stories. I went back to the grocery store today, so I didn't find toilet paper, and just, there were a few little things. I make Kim, for when she goes to work, a fruit smoothie, so I take some frozen fruits and some of her vitamins that she takes are in a powder form, and so frozen fruits, powder form, and then like a flavored seltzer that she has, or she has her Soda Stream now, and put that in there in the Ninja blender thing. Thanks, Dan and Papa, for the Christmas present. So we put it in the Ninja blender, blend it up, and it makes a smoothie for her to drink. And I had just used the last of the frozen fruit and really wasn't thinking about it when I was at the store yesterday. So actually this morning, went to Big Y. Went to go get some frozen stuff. And I decided, you know what, I better go early. The dogs, even though, Kim's the only one that's got like an alarm guy, I got to get up because she's got work going on with the kids, not going to school now. We don't have to wake up super early, and she doesn't go to work till 9, and she works, we can walk there in 2 minutes. So she doesn't work far away. And so if we wanted to, we could be sleeping until 8 every day, except that I have 2 dogs, and the dogs like to get up. Thanks for time change. I know some of you hated time change, but this is the time change where people sleep in later and dogs sleep in later. They don't know the clocks have changed. And so instead of getting up at 5:45 every morning, they're now getting up at 6:45 every morning, which is way better. But I told Kim last night, look, when I get up and walk the dogs, after I walk the dogs, I'm going to go ahead and run out to the grocery store just to we've got some toilet paper that we had bought beforehand. We're Costco members. And so, you go to Costco's once. Now, it just so happens we're at the end of our Costco run. I wish we had been like midway through our Costco run. We'd be good for another couple months. But we went like right after Christmas. And so now we're kind of running down on some of those things. But we're good. We got enough toilet paper and stuff. And my hand still works. Your pastor did not say that. No, but we still got plenty of enough toilet paper. Probably by by the end of the week we'll need to find some. But I thought, if there's some somewhere, might as well pick one up just so we're done and don't have to get out. And we really are practicing our social distancing. We're really trying not to be near other people, especially with Kim's work. And so I thought I'm going to go out in the morning when there's less people out, go grab those things, get get some of that frozen fruit so I can make her smoothie for her. And if they have toilet paper, pick some up. So I get to Big Y. And the dogs were fast, and we got them all done. I got to Big Y about 7:15, and they changed their hours. Their hours are now 7:30, so they're opening up a little bit later so they can make sure they're cleaning stuff. And we could look in the window, and they were, wiping everything down and getting everything clean. So that was great. And there were people doing that the whole time I was there. So got there, and so 7:15, 15 minutes early, I was like, I can read my Bible, sit in the car, and check some email and stuff. And there was a line. A line for Big Y, about 20 people, maybe 15 people one door, 5 or 6 at the other door, set up and ready to go. And so, it got to be about 5 till opening, so 7:25. I thought, well, I'll wandered up there, and then some more people lined up behind us. And they opened the door, and it's a rush, people going in. And these are senior adults and all, and they are running probably more than they've run in the last 10 years. Running. Now, I had specific goals that I was reaching for. I was trying to get the fruit. I walked in. There were some fresh vegetables. I grabbed some more fresh vegetables, which is right there at the front. And I see people making a beeline to the toilet paper. And I kind of had two thoughts. Either there's no toilet paper, so don't bother running back there. Or they got a shipment in overnight, and there's no way the 20 of us that are here are going to take up all that toilet paper, and so if it's there, that's fine. So I go get some of the fresh fruits and vegetables and then make my turn, and I'm heading down the back alley towards where the milk is, and then the toilet paper alley is right there next to the milk thing. And so the milk, when I get there, is completely stocked, top to bottom. There's, every inch of it's full. They have the ones that are sitting sideways, tucked in underneath it. Like, sweet. They got all the milk in the world. They probably got everything else we need. So grab my milk, because ABM always buy milk. And so I bought some milk, and as I was walking down towards the milk, I saw people coming toward me. So people that had already been to the toilet paper aisle that were now coming back, and they had, the 12 packs of toilet paper rolls that were super generic. Like, they weren't Charmin or something like that, Angel Soft. It was something super generic. And so, there was a lady with one in it, and the next lady had 2 in her basket, and the next lady had 2 in her basket. And this is when it happened. Grab my milk. I'm thinking I'm going to go down and see if I can get one of the generic things of toilet paper, even though my tush is like, I hope not. But, I'm going to go get me one of these generic things of toilet paper. And somebody comes off the aisle with no toilet paper. Now, you don't go down the toilet paper aisle in order to not get toilet paper. And that's when it dawns on me, Big Y maybe only had 20 packages of toilet paper. And then it happened. Some lady looking at some lady that's got 2 things of toilet paper and saying, why do you need 2 toilet papers? And she's like, well, I got 2 toilet papers because that's what I'm getting. And the other lady's like, I don't have any toilet paper. I have 0 toilet papers at my house. I need one of those. And it was on. Now, I didn't pull out my phone. There wasn't any fist fighting, but there was some yelling. And then the lady with no toilet papers started finding everybody else with no toilet papers, and we all started getting quizzed. How much toilet papers do you have at home? I was like, I've got toilet paper. I'm okay. How much toilet papers do you got at home? And she wanted to find as many people that had no toilet papers so we could gang up on this one lady, kick her while she was down, and steal one of her toilet papers. And that's when I knew we're it. It's time for some social distancing. And so I just want to share stories, hopefully make you smile and laugh a little bit, let you see a little bit of what we do and where we are. Like I said, later today, we're just going to pull out a game. I don't know how it's going to work. It may be the most boring things in the world, but if you don't know me as, individually, like things I like, I grew up, and maybe I'll tell you this now, so it's set up for playing a game later. I grew up in a family that played a lot of games. We were all pretty big introverts in my family. My dad was an officer in the military, but military is not bad for introverts because there's rules and regulations, and 1, 2, 3, follow the steps, and for me it was that was just the world that I grew up in, and I always tell, especially Kim, as we in the family, if we find out we're not all on the same page on something, one of the things I always tell her to do is, hey, let's get out a game and let's sit around a table. I mean, how many times do you as a family just get out and put your feet under the same table? You're all just going to sit down together, for a meal. And when you play a game, that's what you do. You everybody gets out and you stick your feet under the same table and you begin to talk. I mean, that was one of the main ways we communicated in my family. That's the way we built our social interaction. That's the way we grew close with each other, is we just played games with each other. We hung out with each other. And so we played games. And we played all kinds of games. I mean, I'm sure all of you have the old traditionals, the Monopolies, the Lifes, the Clues, the things like that. And yeah, we played those when we were little. But my dad used to collect these Avalon Hill box games. Now, you probably never seen one of these Avalon Hill box games, but the Avalon Hill box games were games that came in big, thick boxes, about the size of a cereal box, but the whole top came off of it. And inside, there might be games. I've got one on my shelf here called Panzer Blitz. My kids want to play Panzer Blitz. Maybe we'll pull it out later in the week. And it was about the German tank invasions and the Allies' response to those invasions. I played a game called Rail Baron, where you were trying to build your rails across the United States of America, but it was based off of the actual expansion of the railroad system, and so it had the names of all the different train companies that were out there, the Santa Fe's, the Union Pacifics, the all those trains that were out there. There was I live in Connecticut now. One of them was New Haven, New Hartford, and something or other. It was this, but it was this big. It just went from New York to New Haven. So on the game, it was just 2 spaces long. It was the cheapest train in the entire place. But sometimes that cheapest train connected you to something like the PA, the Pennsylvania and stuff, Atlantic, and the B&O Railroad and the C&O Railroad. And so I learned about geography, playing Rail Baron. I learned about those, how those early rail barons made their money and how they profited and did things. So there was a stock market game, and we learned about the stock market. And I learned a lot of my life by playing games, and I socialized with my family by playing games. And games are an important part of who I am. And so I have a humongous game shelf. If you're watching the Fill and Fill, you can always see it behind us. Now, that's not all of my games. That's just the games that are able to make the trip up here and the ones that aren't packed away in other places. But we play a lot of games. And I'm always begging people, hey, come play more games with me. Come play more games with me. And we've done a couple game nights at the church and some things like that. But I love playing games. Love being a part of that. And it's part of how I learned to socialize. It's part of how I learned to interact with people while we're playing. And I find that's true for a lot of people. If you really want somebody to talk to you, to loosen up. I had a good friend, Mike Hernandez. I don't know if Mike is watching, but he's back in Oklahoma City. Wanted Mike to share his testimony. We were doing a whole month in church where different people in church were sharing their testimonies. And Mike had given us an old minivan that he didn't need anymore, and I was a poor pastor and couldn't afford to get another car, and so he gave us this old minivan, and it needed to have some work on it, and but I also wanted to film Mike and get his testimony, and he didn't feel comfortable doing that. I was like, well, could we work on the van? And while we work on the van, could I film while we're working on the van? He's like, that's fine. And the entire time we worked on the van, we talked about his testimony. We talked about his girls. We talked about his parenting philosophies and strategies. And it was one of the best videos I ever did. One of the best videos of just content of somebody sharing what's on their heart and what God was doing with them. And it was all because Mike was doing something that he was good at and something he loved doing. We were working on a car together, and the moving of the hands, the working on the stuff made it free for him to be able to talk without worry, to be able to talk without any problems or concerns, because we were just 2 guys working on a car, talking about what's going on, drinking some iced tea together. That's how I get sometimes with games. It's just, some people playing games, and in the midst of the games, you begin to talk. I mean, I still smile today when the kids play video games. I know there's some parents, I don't want your kids playing video games. Well, I got a kid that lives in Oklahoma, and he'll get on and he'll play video games with my kids here in Connecticut, and they'll have the volume up so they can talk back and forth, and we'll walk down the hall and you can hear them yelling and screaming at each other, and you realize, wait a minute, there's three people screaming at each other, and there's Ransom playing with his brother and sister online, and we get a chance to go and talk to him and share some stuff and really be able to learn about, just what's going on in his life and where he is. And so it's a part of who I am, and so I want to share that with you as well over the next couple of weeks as we're locked into our buildings, and hope to have a good time, a good opportunity to share some of those things with you. So I don't know, I probably wasted about 30 minutes of your time if you've been watching, but that's kind of what this is for, giving us an opportunity just to share a little bit about what's on our heart, a little bit about who we are, just have some time just to have some good time together and learn a little more about each other. Leave some comments, let me know if there's something in it like, oh, that was funny, or I like that right there, or man, you're weird, and don't ever use your hand for toilet paper and stuff like that. But share what's going on, and like I said, these aren't going to necessarily be super spiritual things. We aren't going to be diving deep into Bible studies on this stuff, but we will do Bible study stuff at other times. We have some other activities going on. We're doing Bible studies for senior adults right now that we're putting up on the Bible for My Generation, and so if you want to watch those, there's some good content that's going to be coming up on those. We're going to be going through the Sermon on the Mount for the next couple of weeks. I want to encourage you to participate and be a part of that. But I hope you guys just have a blessed time. I'm going to pray for you real quickly there in your in your isolation there, wherever you are on your side of the computer. I'm going to talk to you and pray for you in your social distancing, that God will bless you, and we'll use this time to help you build your family and help you build some new ways to reach out and reach into people. So let me pray for you. Our Heavenly Father, God, I pray that you be with the people that are watching this video. God, I pray that you help with us while we're in the midst of our social distancing. Lord, that we know that that's meant to be physically separate ourselves from other people, but God, that we should still spiritually and socially communicate and spend time with each other, and hope we can do that through our blogs and through our times here on the internet. God, we love you so much. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. See you guys next time around this afternoon. I think we're playing a game. I want you to come and watch. And one of these days maybe we're going to throw up some computer games. There's some games that I think you could play with us if you're online when we're online. And so we'll see how all that stuff works. And so we will see you soon. Look forward to having many more times together. All right. God bless. Goodbye.